Alrighty guys, what's up? It is that time again. Today we will be doing yet another Fortnite season review, this time on the current season, Chapter 4, Season 2. Now, I did get back on the algorithm a little bit yesterday, so maybe we can blow up this video by you subscribing and liking. That would be absolutely amazing. And just as a bit of a precursor, I think this season was a lot better than the last one, so at least it wasn't a 3 out of 10 like I gave last season. Without further ado, I'm not going to keep you guys waiting any longer. Let's hop into this full season review of Chapter 4 Season 2, covering every single topic we possibly can in a decently short amount of time. Alright, so as always, the first thing we will be covering is the Battle Pass. Now, I thought last season's Battle Pass was pretty good, but I think this season stepped it up even a little bit more. So starting off, we have Renzo the Destroyer. Now, this is the first male Tier 1 skin we've had in a while, and I love this skin. This is one of my favorite Tier 1 skins that we've also had in a while, and I see people wearing this one all the time. Something about the flaming mohawk and the super, leanish looking build, similar to the Ageless, is just so satisfying to use. And honestly, I think they should do more male Tier 1 skins, but I am biased because I do like male skins more than female skins, so I like this one a lot. Next up, we have what would normally be at the Tier 1 spot with the weird, anime punk girl. I don't even remember her name. Izami, I think? Nazumi, maybe? I don't know. It's a terrible skin and I haven't even worn it once. It's super goofy, but her glider is really cool, so I'll give her that. And then we have Thunder, the most, creepily high-definition skin I think we've ever had. And honestly, his skin to me kind of represents the fall of the storyline because there is no storyline anymore. And his entire point is to be a goofy Italian chef dude who admittedly has a pretty cool outfit, but I'm sorry, his lizard face is just too weird for me. I wore it once and it wasn't terrible, but it's just too realistic for Fortnite. I can't do this skin. And now we're back to the banger skins with Mystica. Now this one at first I thought was a little bit weird because of how bald her head looked, but ever since they fixed that, I've really gotten on board with this skin. I absolutely love the styles, especially that ice one. And honestly, all of her cosmetics are really, really clean, especially that glider. Absolutely amazing. I just gotta say, props to Epic Games for making a unique, weird skin without it looking really creepy and ugly like Thunder. They did a really good job on this one, and honestly, I think they should do more skins like this in their own Fortnite style. This just feels like a more Fortnite-y skin, and I really like that. And now we're on to Stray. Oh my gosh. The default style of this one is already cool, but I think the proportions are a little bit weird on it. But the colors are really nice. And then you have that drift style. I feel like we haven't gotten a genuine, cool drift styled skin in a while for the Fox Clan, and it looks absolutely amazing. I really love this one, but where my real love comes from is the white style with the red mask. Oh my gosh, that is the best skin style in this battle pass, 100%. Especially because he's got the cool ninja robes on. It feels like he's straight out of Ninjago, to be honest. Absolutely amazing skin. I will praise this skin to my grave. Looking at that white style, so clean. Dare I say the cleanest skin in Fortnite with that white style. Absolutely shockingly good skin. And then there's Highwire. Now her normal style is just kind of like a boring skin, and then her overtime challenge style actually looks pretty nice in my opinion, the blue and pink one. But as soon as I got that furry style, I archived it. Haven't worn this skin once because I'm not weird and gay and I don't want a furry in my Fortnite locker. If you guys would have just kept the normal style, it would have been fine. It would have been a boring skin with a cool style, but no, you had to go and make it a furry. Good job, you ruined the skin. Now you might be thinking, weird furry, man, that has to ruin the battle pass. But clearly you haven't seen the Tier 100 skin, Mizuki. Now Mizuki's normal style is already pretty cool, and I would say Tier 100 material. But when you get that style of her wearing the sleek ninja suit, oh my gosh, so cool. And honestly, my favorite part of the skin is that magma style. Absolutely amazing. Can you tell the peak of this battle pass is all the styles, because the styles for all the skins, even if they're boring skins, are so cool. Literally, all I want to wear in my Fortnite locker is the magma Mizuki and the white Stray. Oh my goodness, I can't even describe to you how cool this is. I waited the entire season once I saw that skin because I wanted that magma Mizuki so bad. So cool, so easy to make combos with. Amazing Tier 100 skin, just like the last season, and I really hope they stay on this track of good Tier 100s. And last and also least, we have Eren Yeager. Now, I actually haven't even gotten the skin yet because I don't really care about it. I don't watch anime, so I don't really care about the show or anything. and the skin has ugly colors and he's really skinny. So I don't really know what I think about, grinding for this one when I don't really care about it. Obviously, it's cool that they didn't make the collab tier 100 and that's the only collab skin in the battle pass. So it's whatever, right? I don't really care. Anime, it does go along with the Neo Tokyo theme. So I think it's cool that they had an anime skin in the battle pass just because it goes along with the theme. I just personally don't really care about it. I'm not going to say it's bad because I just don't care for it. But if I watched the show, I'd probably think it was cool. So it's whatever. And that now completes our battle pass section. I will be giving this battle pass a 7.5 out of 10 because it does have a few bad skins, but it's also got a lot of really good skins. So honestly, cool battle pass. And next up, we have the map. Now, as you guys might know, if you've watched my last video, I absolutely hate the Chapter 4 map. But I will say, a big redeeming factor has been the new POIs, even though they still do feel just like the Chapter 4 style. Something about them feels like there's more intention put into them, and they definitely feel more Fortnite-y a little bit than what we had prior. I gotta say, I do wish that the landscape and the terrain were just like old Fortnite. But you know what? Comparing the rest of the map to these new POIs, I think the new POIs are the best. I really enjoy landing at Mega City, as I'm pretty sure everybody does. It's the biggest, coolest POI in Fortnite history, pretty much. But I also really like Steamy Springs. I think it's a really good POI. And then Kenjutsu and Nadi are just good spots to fill out the outside of the map. And then the water portion is pretty cool. It just feels a little bit more intentional. And then you have those little spots around the map that have all the swords at them, and it just makes the game feel more like not randomly thrown together like the rest of the Chapter 4 map. So even though Chapter 4 is still, the Chapter 4 map is still a thing, and even though it didn't get any changes made to it besides that one section, I gotta say, they did a great job with the section they added. And honestly, I think that adding landmass instead of just replacing it was a good play. Just because the map is already big, so they might as well make it bigger, I guess, to just at least give it a unique feel instead of just being a boring map. So yeah, I think that they did a really good job with the map changes this season, and I'd really like to see something similar next season. The POIs are good, the landmarks are good, everything about it just feels a lot more fleshed out than the rest of the map. So yeah, good changes for the map. I'm going to give the map of this season, if we're just counting the new map changes, I'm going to give them a 7 out of 10 because while they are really cool, they are in that Chapter 4 style that I really do not like. So yeah, but overall, W map this season. Now, moving on to what I believe is the highlight of the season, we're going to be talking about the loot pool. Now, last season's loot pool was pretty good, but a lot of the weapons did feel underwhelming or like they were just randomly thrown in there. But this season, it seems like they really stepped up their game. So first, we obviously have to talk about the Havoc shotgun. Now, the Havoc shotgun that does 200 is the best shotgun in the game now. It does 200, it's a pump shotgun, so without a shadow of a doubt, that is the best shotgun we have in the game. And I'm really happy with how they rolled it out in the vault system. So I think that the Havoc, while its normal form isn't quite as good as the pump because it definitely has a lot less range and it feels like, I don't know, it feels like it's a little bit harder to use than the pump. They actually made a really good competitor to the pump. And similar to what they did with the Thunder last season, which had a little bit less damage but a lot more range, they've really been rolling out these pump remakes that actually don't disappoint. I don't know why they haven't just brought the pump back, but I think that they should consider doing that, or they could honestly just keep the Havoc in because it's pretty dang similar. And I personally really enjoyed this weapon. Really loved the Mythic version, having a pump that 200s in the game. Maybe not in zero build, which is why I like how they took it out of zero build. But just having a pump that does 200 in the game, it is absolutely game changing and honestly defines the fun in this game. So yeah, they did a great job with the Havoc shotgun. A weapon that they didn't quite do as good with though is the Havoc rifle. This thing is pretty weak, to be honest. I really don't enjoy the bloom on it. And although it does have a decent fire rate, it does not very much damage. And honestly, I think that we should have gotten a better gun, saying that they nerfed the Scar into Oblivion last season. They could have just buffed it and kept it in instead of adding a whole new gun. It honestly doesn't really serve a purpose, and you can't really use it as a secondary because of how slow the pullout time is. So the Havoc rifle is kind of an L. A gun that isn't an L, however, is the other new rifle, which is the overclocked pulse rifle. And this is kind of random because the pulse rifle hasn't been in the game for about 2 years, and they randomly decided to add it back, except this time they made it really strong. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as overpowered because it does have a decently small mag size, but just the fact that you can hip fire that thing from any range and basically obliterate someone if you have good enough aim, it's pretty terrifying. Now, it is really hard to get because, I almost always die when I go island. I don't know why, but I can usually survive the vaults, but for some reason when I go island, it's like the entire lobby wants those pulse rifles. So you just got to be really careful. But it's high risk, high reward because those pulse rifles absolutely shred. So I'm very happy that they added this weapon back because I was already a fan of it. And now it's really, really good. Even though I'm not the best with it anymore, I still really enjoy this weapon. We also got one of the best movement items in Fortnite ever this season with the Katana. Now this thing is definitely a contender to the hammer, and unfortunately like the hammer they removed it before the end of the season. But regardless, I think that the Katana was an amazing item. They didn't really need to make a blue one because the purple one wasn't OP, so I don't know why they did that. But honestly, it's still an amazing item. Maybe not so much as a weapon because some people can manage to just jump into my box and 200 to 0 me with that thing and I don't get it. But for most people, if you try to use it as a weapon or you just accidentally misclick with it, you end up, launching yourself off of a cliff or just standing still to get a free 200 pump. It's pretty annoying sometimes, but as long as you just use it as a mobility item, it's actually really, really good. And honestly, one of my favorite mobility items they've ever added into the game, especially because of the verticality you can get off of it and how you can find them across the map at a 100% spawn rate. It's just an amazing item. Another amazing item that they added this season is the Slurp Juice. Buffing it so that it does 3 health and 3 shield at the same time is one of the best changes I think they've ever made in the game because honestly, who didn't want Slurp Juice back, right? Everybody wanted Slurp Juice back, and they brought it back, and we realized, oh, it's kind of underpowered. But now we have such a good version of it. I wouldn't necessarily classify it as OP, but it is very strong, and it is very hard to counter sometimes if you don't have good aim and, you miss one of your shots. That could be like another 20 HP that person got just because you missed a shot for 1 second. But honestly, another absolutely amazing item, and if you can't tell, I'm really a fan of a lot of the things that they added this season, just because it seemed like they had a focus on fun rather than like competitiveness, and yet they still managed to be really competitive items. So honestly, great job with the Slurp Juice, along with a lot of the other items this season. Now the loot pool did remain the same a lot. They had some cool unvaults such as the combat and the normal SMG, which I thought were really good items, especially that normal SMG. Don't get me wrong, I like the twin mag, but I think that normal SMG just absolutely slaps. So great job with that. And the combat shotgun, once they buffed it, it's been a really good weapon for zero build. Maybe not so much for build, but especially saying that the other auto shotgun in the game is the Maven, it definitely outclasses it by 1,000,000%. So honestly, good job on the unvaults this season. Now, I know they did keep in a couple boring guns, like for example, the Red Eye. I'm not a big fan of the Red Eye because it's very janky compared to some of the other red dot weapons we've had. Like, come on, we got the AUG, the Striker Burst. Compared to this, it's not even close. So honestly, in my opinion, they should have just added another weapon similar to it that wasn't quite as clunky. But yeah, most of the guns they kept in were good, but some of them, just like that and the Maven and stuff, were a little bit boring, and I wish that we could have seen a bit of a switch up. But to be fair, it is only the second season of the chapter, so maybe next season we'll get some more switch ups in the loot pool. But other than that, the loot pool this season is, oh my goodness, absolutely amazing. One of the best loot pools we've had in a while, honestly, I'd say. Definitely better than last season's loot pool, even though I did enjoy last season's. There's just a lot of random stuff last season. This season, it felt a lot more streamlined, like everything sort of has a purpose. The lock-on pistol, oh my gosh, so free to just beam people out of the air, but it's honestly balanced for an aimbot weapon. Like I said, they did an amazing job on the loot pool this season. It's definitely the highlight, and honestly, I hope that next season's loot pool looks kind of similar to this one. I'm going to go ahead and give the loot pool an 8 out of 10 this season. I can't think of any guns that are majorly OP or any guns that are majorly weak besides maybe the Maven. You know what, I'm actually going to bring this down a little bit to a 7.5 just because the ranged game, like just having the heavy sniper in the game and no other snipers, along with the fact that the Red Eye is kind of janky and the Havoc is pretty weak. Honestly, I think the range game is a little bit mid. It's not bad. It's just it could use like one more gun that's a little bit more streamlined. So yeah, 7.5 on the loot pool. Still a good loot pool, and honestly the highlight of the season for me. And I hope next season's loot pool looks decently similar. And now I'm going to be talking about some of the features of the season. So starting out, we're going to be talking about the vaults and the bosses. So the bosses in the vaults this season, I very much like how they did them, as to where you can only get the mythic shotgun that 200 pumps from a vault, but there is 3 of them around the map. And it is a little bit annoying that you have to wait a few minutes into the round to be able to get them. I think you should be able to get them a little bit earlier. But other than that, it's a really nice system, in my opinion, to have high tier loot decently quickly into the game. And honestly, the only thing that is a bit annoying about them is how easy it is to get third party and how easy it is for people to hide in the vault. But honestly, the bots, the fact that they don't shoot you until you shoot them and their aim isn't very good, I think is exactly how bots should be, as to where you can't really just run up in there and 1v3 them expecting to not take a bunch of damage. But at the same time, it shouldn't be your biggest priority, like that you might die by them, because you're probably not going to end up dying from them. But I think is how it should be. They should be more of an annoyance than a straight up game ender. So yeah, vaults and key cards and the bosses and everything were very good this season. The only thing I have to say is that the Mythic Havoc is a little bit weak, the Havoc rifle, not the shotgun. And I do wish that they would have given him like a bit of a more powerful weapon. But I do get that there are 3 around the map, and they wanted the more powerful weapon to be the pulse rifle, which you have to wait a bit longer to get. So I understand it. It's just a little bit frustrating how weak it can be. But yeah, overall, very, very nice with the vaults this season, and I think they did it a lot better than some of the prior seasons, and I'm really happy to see the vaults back. The second feature I'll be discussing today is Loot Island. Now, Loot Island, they did kind of do my boy dirty with the new Chapter 4 style of it, because it is definitely not the OG Loot Island like we had last chapter, but it is still really cool that they added that back with the feature of using the sort of capture points in a better way than before, because the capture points are a little bit weak, and so I think it's amazing to have capture points that it is very high risk yet pretty high reward too, because not only do you get a lot of slurp juices and gold weapons, but you do get a few of those overclocked pulse rifles, which is probably the best gun in the game right now. So I do think that it's interesting how they rolled it out, because it spawns so late into the match, and it's just sort of random where it spawns, so it can spawn really far away from everything. But it does go very well along with the season of sort of waiting throughout the match for better loot to spawn, because you start off with the vault and stuff, and you can get mythics there, and then you have the combat caches, and then you have Loot Island. So by the end of the match, most people are going to have really strong loot, which I think is a really, really good way to do it. And in the end, even though it is a bit lengthy how long you have to wait for it, once again, I wish it did come to the match a little bit earlier. I do think it's a very nice feature. It's just something that I don't really go to a lot, because I usually end up dying because everyone and their motherland's there. But even with those roadblocks, I do think that it is a really cool feature, and I would like to see something like that next season. Maybe something different, like maybe a hole opens up in the ground or something. That would be really cool, rather than an island in the sky. And it is a little bit random that they happen to use Loot Island as the place that would spawn, but I think it is cool that they brought that back in. Overall, it's just a very cool feature. Like most of the stuff of the season, it might be a little bit annoying and a little bit lengthy, but it's overall a really cool feature, and I really like how it spices up the game and makes this season feel a lot different than some of the others. And the last feature that we will be discussing today is the Star Wars event. Now, if you've watched my locker tour video, you'll know that I've spent about $700 on Fortnite, which is a lot of money on a free game. So I vowed that besides maybe some battle passes, I would never spend money on the game at all ever in the future, except for one thing: if they brought out a Clone Trooper skin. And what do they do this season? They bring out Clone Trooper skins. Now, it is a little bit goofy how they're all different styles of Clone Trooper as different skins, instead of just giving us one skin you could customize. And I think that there could be still skins in the future of a customizable Clone Trooper with like Phase 1 styles and Arc styles and really cool things like that. But right now, I'm still happy with what we got. An absolutely amazing skin. And it was glitched a little bit at the first, but it is still cool how they rolled it out. And the rest of the battle pass is good too. All of the items in this mini pass are really, really solid, along with the Darth Maul skin. So cool. I think that everything in this pass is what I would have wanted to see from a Star Wars battle pass. And it's definitely the best little mini event they've ever done, even better than like the Dragon Ball ones and stuff. But the real highlight of this event was the features it added. So not only did we get the DC-15 blasters and little Clone Trooper things with Order 66 taking place throughout the middle of the event, but we also got lightsabers back, but actually useful this time, alongside them also adding Darth Vader back again. Like, it was a really, really, really cool way to spice up the like sort of middle end of the season when it was a little bit lackluster in terms of content. And I do think that they did an absolutely amazing job with this event. One of the best Fortnite events we've ever had, like season mid events and stuff. And I do want to see something like this every season from now on, even though I know it probably won't happen. But good job, Fortnite. You got my money. And I just think they did a good job with collabs this season, especially with like the ODM gear and the Spider-Man mythics and stuff. They did a really, really good job with bringing sort of super fully fleshed out, detailed collabs into the game. I think they did a really good job. And overall, this was my favorite event I think we've ever had in Fortnite in terms of like mid-season events with battle passes and stuff. Now, my brothers in Christ, we have reached the end of this video. So after giving the Battle Pass a 7.5 out of 10, the map a 7 out of 10, and the loophole a 7 out of 10, after evaluating everything else, I'm going to go ahead and give this season a 7 out of 10. It is definitely a good season of Fortnite, but I think compared to some of the OG ones, it definitely gets outclassed. It's not absolutely amazing season, but it is really good. It was definitely a lot better than last season, and I think that they should do a lot of things similarly to this season next season. So they did a really good job at making Chapter 4 not as boring and terrible as it was last season. So great job, Epic Games. Even though your game doesn't really function, I think what you added this season was really good. And overall, a 7 out of 10 season is a banger compared to, like, what did I give the last season, a 3 or a 4? So yeah, great job, Epic Games. I hope that next season looks a lot like this. Thank you guys so much for watching, and it appears that I am going on and off of the algorithm again. So subscribing and stuff would help keep me on the algorithm, and liking this video, as well as maybe blowing this video up. That would be great too. Probably won't happen, but you know, I might as well try and wish it to become a thing. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. God bless you guys. I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys in season 3 when I make yet another season review. See ya.